Shaun Edwards, how has he had such a big effect on that team in such a short space of time?
Tweeted it. I did.
Yeah.
Of course I did. 14 minutes, 35 seconds into the game, and I said the defence, wow. And what I should say also as well is, because I am an expert, to all the haters out there, and sometimes I do know what I'm talking about, and I said that I was going to take the match point predictor serious this Guinness Six Nations, and that's what I've done, to the point where I had question marks when I looked at the England team before the game was about to start, that I actually changed my match point predictor from England by 5 to France by 4.
Crazy.
Expert.
You're crazy.
Mate, I had mental.
Well, can we also go back to... Well, we'll talk about it then. We'll also go back to what happened. You're such an expert. What happened before Ireland against Scotland? I've got Ireland to win by 8. And we're doing the comms together. And what did you say?
Well, I had Ireland by 7, and then Goodey got me head, so I changed it to Ireland to 18.
No. We've rocked up to do this comms, and you were like, this is going to be an absolute hosing. Ireland are going to absolutely dominate Scotland here. And you convinced me that Ireland were going to win by 20.
I thought they were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I changed it. Yeah. Stupidly, I listened to this clown, I changed it, and I'd have been pretty much spot on. Unfortunately not. And you cost me a load of points in the match point predictor app.
Well, I'm sure we'll come on to that, but you mentioned Shaun Edwards. That's why I changed it. That's my point. That's why I changed my match point predictor, because I saw him on the field. Let's just say he was wearing a beret, and I'd seen
did he have a baguette under his arm as well?
No.
And some onions?
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Okay.
But I saw him on the pitch before the game, and I saw his eyes. I felt his eyes, and I thought, this guy means business. And I'm sure we'll get into it, and I've got no shame in saying it. I looked through the French team, and apart from 3 or 4 of the players, I'd recognise some of their names from the Under-20s World Cup. When you've seen them, you hear whispers about some of the players, and Goody, you watch more of the top 14 than me. I'm thinking, I don't know half of this team, but I know Shaun Edwards, and I had a funny feeling that France might do it, and my goodness me, did they rock up. And that's what I tweeted. I said the defence, just wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, he's a guy that brings, and he's your perfect international coach, I think, because the rollickings and the rockets and the extra that he gives players,
the emotion.
He gives 10 or 15% extra to every player in what he does and how he speaks to them and how he coaches them, and you just grow as a player. That doesn't necessarily translate into a week-to-week Premiership or Guinness Pro 14 coach, because they're the toughest jobs that you're doing it over 52 weeks. As an international, you come in and you give a load of intensity and direction to a team. France have always had undoubted ability, individual brilliance, and things of question on them are their desire, their defence, their willingness to work hard for each other, and that's all the guaranteed things that a Shaun Edwards coached team has in their DNA. And 3 things happened for me as to why we got to the result. Maybe 4 things happened to me as to why we got the result that we got. Firstly, the Shaun Edwards factor for France. Like, he's a phenomenal coach. Anyone that's been coached by him knew that he'd have that sort of impact. And we've talked about it on here, haven't we? I'd still love to hear some of his coaching in French. Cause,
give us some what you think he might have said.
Aggressivity, fair on bar, get off, I mean, alley, fucking smash him. Anyway, he's doing all that, and he's had a phenomenal impact on them. That's the first thing. Secondly, Eddie Jones.
Before we get on to Eddie Jones, can I just quickly ask, because I think it's interesting about Shaun Edwards. So we've discussed the impact that he has had, but there's been a lot of chat this weekend about the fact there's 4 new head coaches in the tournament and how it takes time. So Andy Farrell maybe can't have an impact straight away. Is the reason that Shaun Edwards has because of the simplicity of his message, or how does he have that effect so quickly?
I think his role in the team, I think defence is one of the easiest ones to fix in terms of skill set, because you get to that level, most players can tackle, right? But it's the unity, it's the work rate off the ball. France, for me, in the World Cup, looked very good, but we never got a real gauge on them. Varmahina got Varmahina got red carded for the elbow. The game against England was cancelled, so we never really got a gauge. But France looked better at the World Cup. They looked leaner. They had a kicking game, which is something they didn't have before. But for me, the foundation still, as the game is now, and it will be going forward forever, is defence. Because you get a gauge on the mindset of teams. And we've seen France before, when there's a line break, they'll waddle back, maybe because they're not fit enough, or because emotionally that's where they lose interest. Whereas at the weekend against England, the collisions, and we saw 2 tries from England, Johnny May, which for me was an individual brilliance. Apart from that, their defence close to the line, when there was a box kick in the air, they were literally grafting, and all that is down to, my opinion, Shaun Edwards, because playing in France and watching how French teams play without a Shaun Edwards as coach, you don't see them doing them things because it's not in them, because it is jouet. That's exactly what it is, but France have got that anyway. And for me, that was the big difference. That I've spoken about it before, and I've said it a few times, that for me, what they've missed is someone like Shaun Edwards to bring that together. And the question is whether he would stick it out in that cultural environment. But he's found 4 words: placards, tray en bas, rest en bas, and baguette, and that's all he needs to be able to motivate them and speak to the guys.
Yeah, I mean, the fundamentals of the game, the things that don't require skill but require effort that he coaches, you could question the French over that. They've got all the talent, the ability, but he's putting in a work rate, an ethic, a desire to get off the line and work for each other and work off the ball on the inside that we haven't necessarily seen consistently from a French team. And I know it's only one game, and they play Italy this week, and it'd be very French if Italy went over there and turned them over, but I can't see it happening because of how Shaun Edwards is. And they were phenomenal. So the first factor, Shaun Edwards, ridiculous. His impact on what the French have done in that game and can do going forward is huge. England Rugby Union, you could have had Shaun Edwards as a coach. I tweeted that.
Yeah, but John Mitchell's done really well in the D for them, and that's not me taking the piss. He has.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, why don't you want to get an Englishman like Shaun Edwards to coach England when he becomes available?
Maybe you don't like Eddie Jones. I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying.